Um, all of the poems for today are pretty sexually explicit about various things. And this is a real characteristic of Restoration literature. It's the reaction to Puritanism. The Puritans are gone. Now we can be body and, express our sexuality in various ways. So this poem, The Imperfect Enjoyment, um, is I had told someone it's about impotence. It's kind of about impotence. Really, it's about premature ejaculation. So we have our lovers together. I have put like little bolds on like important lines. Um, yes. So the male speaker has had a premature ejaculation. And then his female lover says like, are you sure there's nothing more? And he can't do it. Now he feels impotent. He can't get an erection. Um, and then he kind of shifts to addressing his penis as a wishing, weak, unmoving lump, this dart of love. Notice his like discussion of basically bisexuality, which is not a word that even existed in this time, but that doesn't mean that there weren't people who enjoyed or who were sexually attracted to people of both sexes. So then this last section, he specifically addresses his penis, right? The thou that he identifies is his penis, right? He talks about, it's like the worst part of me. I hate it. He's like talks about like sexual degradation. And he ends his poem with a rhymed couplet. And this whole poem is in rhymed couplets. This is called heroic couplets. It will be one of the dominant poetic forms of the 18th century, right? With there'll be 10,000 other guys with penises, right, pricks, who will be happy to satisfy the fair Corinna. So this is our kind of first Rochester poem. The next poem looks fairly similar because it also talks a lot about impotence, but we have a long extended simile, almost a metaphysical conceit, like our metaphysical poets, where the speaker compares himself to an admiral who's not going to fight in the war himself, but who is going to watch from the sidelines. And so he says, so when my days of impotence approach, and I am by pox and wine's unlucky chance. Pox is not smallpox. Pox, he's saying syphilis. So by syphilis and alcohol, I'll be impotent. Yeah, that is very true to life. Then he's talking about what everybody else should do. They should drink. They should have sex with a lot of people. We get another interesting memory of, or a recollection of him and a female lover, Chloris. Chloris is going to be the name of a female kind of stock character, where he also talks about having sex with men, or where he and Chloris, who are probably lovers, are one of them is going to have sex with someone else. And he ends with kind of saying, because I'm impotent, I'll be good for nothing else, but I'll be wise. So notice the tension there between being impotent and being wise. And our final Rochester poem song, Love a Woman, You're an Ass, makes fun of the concept of love. Specifically makes fun of the heterosexual concept of love, because he's like, no, I'm gonna sit with my friends. These friends are presumably male, and drink and say smart things. And if I really, really feel like I need to have sex, I'll have sex with a man. I'll have sex with a page. Um, so again, this is kind of an interesting presentation of Rochester's. I normally I would hesitate to do a biographical reading, but Rochester's biography is so insane. He drinks himself to death. He dies basically of alcoholism. Probably also has syphilis at 33, which is quite an accomplishment. Um, he had sex with women, he had sex with men, he was notoriously promiscuous and very creditably described as the wickedest man in England. He was a great friend, he was a close friend of Charles II, but he also made Charles II angry a lot of the time. And he was drunk, constantly drunk for 5 years, and he did a lot of things when he was drunk that were kind of stupid, but a very interesting representation of Restoration poetry. Notice how, in some ways, this should remind us of our Carpe Diem poems with stock characters like Corinna or Chloris, lovers, but this is far more explicit and darker, I would say, darker in tone in many ways. So think about Rochester's male representation of these issues, and then when you listen to the Ben lecture, Ben is also going to write about a same-sex relationship. She is going to write about male impotence. Does it change when we have a female poet? Okay.